In a zombie apocalypse, the first and foremost thing you should do is be ready, willing, and able to kill the zombies. In 7 Days to Die, this is no different. You need to kill the zombies for XP, for a chance to breathe and do some looting. And of course, for the thought that you are slowly ridding the world of the undead, one zombie at a time. But what if, for whatever reason, you were not ready, willing, or able to kill the zombies? What if you decided that, despite the world being lost to the undead, violence is never the answer? What if you decided to be a pacifist? Well, that is what I'm going to try to do in this video. Can I survive for 7 days as a pacifist in 7 Days to Die? The rules are simple. I cannot hit or kill any zombies or animals. Additionally, I cannot place items that would bring harm to zombies, so spikes and traps are out of the picture. This challenge will be all about evading the zombies. Let's get to it, shall we? Before we begin, I must point out that, since I cannot kill any zombies, I set my XP multiplier to 300% to make sure that leveling is still a thing. If you disagree with this decision, just think of how boring this game will be if it takes me 3 in-game days to get to level 2. If you still disagree with this decision, just remember that me being able to level up means that I will get more challenging zombies, none of which I can kill. If you still disagree with this decision, too bad. The opening was just like any other 7 Days to Die playthrough. I did my challenges, and threw out the weapons the game forced me to bear in my hands. I looted the Pawpaw residence and got some magazines for cooking and harvesting tools. I can now make quality 2 stone tools, so I did just that. As for my points, I put them into Rule 1 cardio, lockpicking, healing factor, and daring adventure. Eventually, I also want to get points into pain tolerance. This challenge will be all about being able to evade the zombies and POIs that I loot. Taking damage will be an inevitable part of this, so the more damage I can shrug off and recover from, the better. I found the trader after a bit of running, took the intro buried supplies quest, ransacked his compound, and left him a parting gift for being so kind and caring to both me and the 7 Days to Die community. This zombie will be the best thing he has received all day. Don't believe me? Just wait and see. I got to the buried supply location, and there was a zombie there. This is an issue. Normally I would just kill him and then do the buried supply quest, but I cannot kill him. And doing the quest while he's around would be more annoying than digging up the supplies with a stone axe. So I just left, and went to find a place to live instead. But even that would prove troublesome. Basically every POI in town would have zombies in or around them, and getting rid of them is not as easy as you might think. It's not like I can just wake them all up and lead them away. And now, it's time for the Gamer General's lesson of the day, where I teach something about how this game works. Today's lesson is about zombies in POIs. If you wake up zombies in POIs and then run away to a point where they would despawn, they will simply go back to sleep in whatever POI they started in. And that was the lesson of the day, bringing you only the best 7 Days to Die knowledge right from the front. I eventually settled on this destroyed oil derrick, but even that still had zombies in it. Still, it was better than all the other places around, because at least here, once the zombies fell down, they could not get back up. So I got to work breaking the 2 ladders that led to the top of the silo, and let me tell you, it was painful. As you might expect, the stone axe is not an effective tool, so I had to beat on the ladder in small bursts and then run away to lead the zombies away and give myself some more time. It took a long time to break the bottommost piece. I was rewarded for my hard work by falling off the top of the silo and spraining my leg. I was getting pretty irritated at this point. You'll hear that a lot in this video. So I took a break and made the land claim block and bedroll. I also went for a short walk around the neighborhood, for a change of scenery, but also to let my leg heal, so breaking the remaining ladder pieces would be slightly less painful. I started working on the second ladder leading up, and this one has 2000 HP. Cool. The next several minutes were just a mishmash of breaking the ladders, doing the homesteading challenges, and luring the zombies away. Talk about a perfect way to waste your day 1. The 500 HP ladder was finally secure. Now I just had to worry about the 2000 HP ladder. About a quarter way through breaking that ladder, I took a break to go stroll through the neighborhood once again, looting things along the way. This lady decided that she was going to follow me around, so at least I was not alone. Halfway through breaking that ladder, I left again to go do the intro buried supplies quest. My leg had finally healed, and I wanted to be done with this on day 1. Now is probably a good time to mention that I am playing with zombie feral sense on. What this means is that zombies will see you from a kilometer away and hear you from 2 kilometers away. It does make the zombies far more alert than normal. With that being said, it's no surprise that I pretty quickly had zombies coming in to see what I was doing. I tried to build some type of structure to impede the zombies, but they were smart enough to walk around it. So I had to resort to again leading the zombies away. Running in to do a bit of digging, then repeat. After a lot of back and forth, the supplies were finally mine. You remember earlier how I said that zombie I left in Trader Rex's compound was the best gift he had ever received? Here's the proof. That zombie was still in his compound, in the same spot I left him. If that isn't proof for you, I don't know what is. Rex gave me a bunch of useless garbage. The pipe baton bundle was the most appealing garbage in the pile, so that's what I took. Sold the contents of said bundle, and put my new skill point into Miner 69er. My home was still not fully secure, as the bottommost piece of that 2000 HP ladder is still intact. The zombies had all left, except for the 2 that called the silo their home. That's when I noticed something. This zombie fell from above and landed on the ember pile that was in the center of the silo, and he caught on fire. I thought this would be a good way to get rid of all the zombies that came by my place, including these 2. You might say that this is not very pacifist. I'm encouraging them to walk into this hazard which will hurt them, and my response to that is that these zombies could easily just go around it, but they choose to walk through the fire. Therefore, it's their fault that harm is coming to them and not mine. I tried it twice, and then gave up because it didn't seem to work. That's not life advice, by the way. If you try something and it does not work the first time, you should absolutely try again. Those are words everyone smart should live by. Why am I not living by them? Well, I'm not very smart. It's pretty obvious that this is the case, considering that even in the zombie apocalypse, I refrain from all forms of violence, even towards the undead. This will become further evident as you progress through this video. At long last, the second ladder piece was broken, and I now, finally, had a place to call home. I threw down my storage crates, finished my challenges, which gave me another level and a point into pain tolerance. I've barely done any looting today, so with 3 hours until nightfall, I figured this would be a good time to do some looting. At first I just looted the odd car and garbage, but that was not enough. I needed food, drink, and quality loot. So I went to Dick's Diner, which was right by my place. This cooking pot was just sitting there, so I snagged it. I also got some food before the zombies forced me back from the end loot. I used the power of the door to block the zombies from getting inside, after I lured all of them outside. I got a ton of mushroom spores, some more food, and an impact bracing mod, and with that, I decided to call it a day. I built a campfire to boil some water with my new cooking pot, but I could not relax with all the zombies down below, beating on the walls. I ended up building myself a cocoon out of building blocks, because I knew if I stayed quiet and out of sight, the zombies would eventually lose interest and go away. And so that's what I did, all bloody night. Morning came eventually, and I'm hungry and thirsty. I have the remedies for both of those, this time. Next time I will be out of food with no easy way to get more, so I have to make the most of these cans. But then, out of nowhere, I got hit. There are zombies up here. How is this possible? Well, I guess that the 2 zombies that are part of this POI respawned to their original starting locations, which just so happens to be on top of the silo. I have no way to deal with this, so I just have to live with it. I was planning to do as many quests as I could today. You're probably wondering though, how am I going to do quests? Simple, I just do fetch quests. Fetch quests have you go to a POI to retrieve the White River supplies. The supplies are your only objective. You can just get the supplies, then leave, without killing any of the zombies there. React must have seen the situation I was in and chose to have mercy, because with his infinite wisdom, he only had one fetch quest. When I said he chose to have mercy, I meant that he was trying to do me a favor and make me quit the challenge, because as you are about to see in the next several minutes, that is exactly what I want to do. Oh and yeah, as a reward for completing the homesteading challenges, React gave me a bunch of useless magazines for crafting weapons. I took the farming ones, because I don't know. His only fetch quest took me to Nameless Caverns, where I did my best to evade the zombies. I found the supplies and then tried to find the end loot. The zombies managed to get a hit on me, so I left, without even grabbing the end loot. I chose the wood as a quest reward, mainly for crafting building blocks. I also got a level and put the point into fortitude, with the goal of putting another point in pain tolerance and healing factor, eventually. And despite every part of my body screaming at me not to take the buried supply quest, I took it anyway. We all remember the last buried supplies quest I had to do, and this one was no different. I started digging and everything seemed to be going fine, but then the zombies came in. First it was the fat guy, then this lady. I tried to use building blocks to block them, but they were of no use. So I went back to the tactic of luring the zombies away, then running back and digging a bit. It would have worked well if this lady was not so damn fast. This went on for a little while, until I accidentally went out of bounds and failed the quest. This was probably for the best. There was no way I was doing that back and forth for the entire day. The downside is, I now have to find something else to do. Trader Rect has no more doable quests, so I just have to go out and loot on my own. I tried to go back to my house and grab something to eat, but the zombies up there were not cooperating, so I just left. Trying to find a good place to loot was hard. Food is my top need right now, and that's not the easiest thing to get when you can't kill any zombies. Another thing I have to watch out for is dogs and vultures. These two zombies will pursue me relentlessly and are harder to evade than regular zombies. If I encounter a dog, I have to take my building blocks and get to the nearest rooftop as quickly as possible. I eventually ended up at the Greasy Spoon, hoping to find some food, but all I found was a crap ton of zombies. I had to utilize the old school tactic of putting frames in front of wood doors to delay the zombies. But the Greasy Spoon had only that, greasy spoons, and no food. I tried the working stiff tools and was able to do a fair amount of looting and get some food, but left when I woke up a vulture on the roof. The next stop was Grumpy's Pub, and this is where things started to go south. The way forward was going up on the roof, but I knew there would be vultures up there. Sure enough, there were. I tried to leave, but this guy blocking the door did a number on me, so I had to leap from the roof. I'm kind of at a loss. Looting is difficult when you have a horde of zombies behind you, zombies in front of you, and you can't kill any of them. I tried the crispy kitchen, but could not even do that before getting chased away by zombies and vultures. I gave up for a little bit and went back to my base. The zombies up there were a pain, as usual. I planted the mushroom spores I got earlier, and boiled some more water, and went out one more time to try and do some looting. The issue here is that, as I run through a POI, I'm going to wake up all the zombies there. Then there is always a risk that they will sneak up on me, and back me into a corner where there is no escape. I can use frames to slow them down, but that often involves me blocking my only clear way out. I can use building blocks to slow them down, but that often involves me blocking the only clear way out, leaving me trapped with any zombies that are still in the POI. There really is no good way to get around this, I guess, except for stealth, but I'm not much of a stealth player in this game. We shall see soon enough what path I choose to go down. The potato residence was next. This time I was actually able to get the end loot. I also snagged some vegetables and left without a scratch. The crow residence was next, and here it got bad. I did the one thing I'm never supposed to do, get backed into a corner, but that's what I did. I got out of that pickle with a significant beating. In this room was the end loot, and what do you know, I did it again. I backed myself into this room with a horde of zombies behind me, just to get the end loot. On the bright side, I got a ton of medical supplies to help me in any future predicaments I may get myself in. Now I just have to get out. The wall was not too tough to break through, and I escaped into the rainy embrace of the outside. I tried to loot the purple residence, but just look at all those zombies. It's probably best that I leave for a bit and let them all go away. After a quick drop-off run, I went back, and of course, all the zombies are still there. I tried to loot regardless, but with all the zombies already outside and more spawning inside, I figured it was probably best that I just leave for good. At this point, it was obvious that my current method of going about things was not going to be sustainable, so I need a new strategy, one that will allow me to loot POIs without having to deal with all the zombies. And what better solution than stealth? Here's the thing, I'm sure for most of you watching, stealth in this game is second nature for you. You know all the ins and outs of how stealth works. Good for you. I, on the other hand, Don't do stealth. Period. At least in this game. That being said, I'm going to give you an advance warning. This might make you have a mental breakdown as you watch me try to stealth. Hopefully, it will not be so severe that you will click off this video. And if you do, hopefully you will click back after 5 minutes or so. Anyway, that's enough of listening to me ramble. Let's get back to the challenge. I sold some stuff to Trader Rect and took one of his fetch quests. You might be wondering why he has new quests. That's because between this recording and the last, I exited the game, which resets the quests at all the traders. To make a long story short, I cheated to the White River supplies, snagged the end loot while ignoring everything else. I took the crafting magazine bundle as my reward, put my new skill point into the stealth skill, and took another fetch quest for the potato residence. That went off without a hitch. More crafting magazine bundles, and I went back to the tactic of buying yucca juice smoothies from the trader, because I'm hungry and thirsty and don't want to deal with them right now. I also put a point into agility, and another buried supply quest, but that's for later. Right now, I need to head home and make sure that my base is secure. The zombies that live up there with me fell down easily this time. Don't ask why, but I decided to do some home renovations tonight. And by home renovations, I mean I turned my cramped wooden shack into a slightly more spacious, but still cramped wooden shack. Another point into agility, and there I sat, until dusk turned to dawn once more. Now the question arises, what am I going to do today? Whatever that is, this buried supply quest will definitely not be one of them. I hit the Poopy Pants daycare, cheated to the end loot, and really wanted to get that food pile, but Big Mama was in the way. She would not move, so I left. Let's take a moment to admire the fact that I put 3 storage crates on top of the settle that is my base, yet I treat the one drop chest on the ground as my main storage crate. Trader Rect had a whole new assortment of quests. I took the one for Ranger Station Foxtrot, bought food from his vending machine, and it was not long before I woke up a vulture that wanted to peck my eyeballs out. Truthfully, this vulture was not a threat at all. More end loot, more stuff to sell. This time, instead of crafting magazine bundles, I took the cobblestone, and my new skill point went into stealth. Rect had no more fetch quests, but as you'll soon see, he will again, because just like last time, this recording is separate from the last, and I had exited the game between recordings. Some of you may call this cheating, but when you're faced with extraordinary circumstances, you need to use whatever methods are available to you to succeed. I spent some time gathering some wood, afterwards heading to the Brett residence to try and do some stealth. It was not successful, but I did manage to loot some of the kitchen before being chased out. I tried to do stealth again at the Ripon residence, but that was scuffed right from the start, as all the zombies from the Brett residence had followed me over, and alerted all their buddies inside. The Hyde residence was next. Third time was not the charm, for there was a vulture, and he really wanted me. I took shelter on this porch, which was enough to make the vulture break pursuit. I'm starting to get irritated. Soon enough, I might throw myself into a herd of zombies so they kill me and I fail the challenge. At least then I won't have to play like this anymore. But that would not make for an interesting video, so I'm going to press on. I spent some time upgrading my wooden shack. This door caused me to fall off the silo again, not breaking my leg thankfully. But that was one time too many, so this door has to go. All the upgrading got me a level, which went into agility. It was also at this time that I finally decided to make the forge. Not that it would be of much use to me right now, but at least I have it. Hunger is setting in again, and again I have no food. But I do have vitamins and old sham sandwiches. Those were enough to hold me over for a while. The forge was down, and I threw some iron and clay in there, just so it was doing something. That's enough sitting at base for now. It's time to go out and do some more looting. The Junkville Saloon was my next target. Stealth failed immediately, so I went back to the old tactic of luring zombies out and blocking the door with wood frames. But they broke through that in record time, because they can now crouch through 1-block gaps. All I'll say about this is, if the zombies can do it, us players should be able to do it too. Just as it was all the way back in Alpha 11. Better times, better times. I had no choice but to break out the back door. It was fortunate for me that the door separating the front room and the back room was unlocked so I could close it. I stepped on this snake, which was too fast asleep to even wake up. Looking at the back area of this place, I was concerned that there might be a dog, so I opted to just leave and go back to hitting trees instead. That's when I had an actual close call with a dog. He was sleeping so peacefully by his doghouse, and the sounds of trees falling were not enough to wake him up. With that close call narrowly avoided, I went the other way to continue chopping trees. After walking away with a good amount of wood, I went back to Trader Rex to see if he had any more fetch quests. I sold all the magazines I got from my short stay at the Junkville Saloon, and took a quest for the Perkle residence. No need to drag this out. React gave me glue as a reward. I put a point into Hard Target, one of the new skills in the 2.0 update. This one reduces the damage I take while moving. Sounds pretty good to me. Another fetch quest at the Poopy Pants daycare. This car gave me a tool crafting magazine, which allowed me to craft blue stone tools. I tried stealth again, but of course it didn't work. Got the supplies, and React gave me 500 wood as a reward. You may have noticed that he has one more fetch quest real close, at the Honeysuckle Trailer Park. The reason I am not doing this one is because there is a dog at that POI, and in this challenge, dogs equals bad. Anyway, day's almost over, and I figure now is as good a time as any to build the dew collector. I had not nearly enough polymer to make the thing, so I spent some time breaking road barriers, pylons, and carts for the polymer. I also spent some time gathering chrysanthemums so I can make red tea, when I get enough food magazines that is. More vitamins and old sham sandwiches, I placed my new dew collector, and to end the day off, I decided to make a proper floor on top of this silo, so I don't have to worry about falling through and breaking my leg. It looks less than pretty, but it gets the job done. Oh, and I should probably mention that at some point, the zombies that used to live up here got sick of sharing this place with me because they are no longer around. All of that upgrading got me another level, which went into Hard Target. I spent the rest of the night watching the zombies as they meandered down below. When the morning came along, I went back to Trader Rex, chopping down trees on my way there. This gave me a level which went straight into agility. He had a fetch quest for Motel 8. Since he had restocked, I checked his inventory, but he had nothing remarkable. I was making my way there when I heard it, the dreaded sound of a dog collar. I don't even know where this dog came from, but it's panic time. Bill Gears' place was the closest safe haven to my immediate position, so that rooftop was the one I retreated to. It didn't help that a second dog showed up along the way. I had things to do though, and could not afford to sit on this roof all day, hoping the dogs would get bored and go bother someone else. So I leaped from Bill Gears' rooftop and made my way to the rooftop of the nearby police station. It seems at this point the dogs had lost interest in me, so I was free to carry on. Motel 8 was no issue, except for this hard hat zombie, who placed himself between me and the White River supplies. I took the bacon and eggs because I was hungry, and with Trader Rex again having no fetch quests, I was back to just doing my own thing to pass the time. I wanted to check out the Road Gentleman truck stop, which was right by the trader, but I had no way of foreseeing how poorly this would go. It was here that the game threw me something that I have not seen for a very long time. It was here the game decided to throw me a bloody dog horde. I scrambled to get to the roof of the truck stop, and as you can see, it took me more than a few attempts before I finally made it. The show does not end here, folks, because there was a feral on that rooftop. I was ready to leave this place, as this gentleman's truck stop was certainly not treating me like the gentleman I am. In the process of running from the feral, it appeared that I had lost the dog horde, so that's a plus. I thought I would be safe on this rooftop, but that feral still got up there. So I ran and ran and ran some more, until finally the feral was out of view, and I was in the clear. This has been one heck of a day 4, and it's not even 10 o'clock yet. But the show must go on. Obviously I'm not going back to the gentleman's truck stop, so the fortified farm will have to suffice as an alternative. I picked a few pumpkins, and as usual, woke up all the zombies trying to find an alternative way into the building. At this point, I'm pretty much done with stealth, so I'm just going to do what I do best, run in like an idiot, corner myself, and then get a fair beating from the zombies. Surely this will lead to nothing bad in the future. I made my way to the roof of this barn, which just so happened to have the end loot, of course, guarded by zombies. Fortunately, the setup of this POI allowed me to lure the zombies off this walkway from which they could not get back up. I didn't bother with the rest of the house, until I did. This is a tier 3 POI, so the end loot chest is locked. I have no lockpicks, nor iron tools, so it's getting left behind. The highlights of this cache was a first aid kit, and enough tool crafting magazines to allow me to make iron tools. It's day 4, so the supply plane flew by today. First I went back to drop stuff off and plant some more mushrooms. The contents of the airdrop were mostly stuff that was only good for selling for dukes. The mod bundle and the crafting magazine bundle were sold to the trader. I bought some food because I'm hungry again, and food is really hard to come by in this playthrough. Fitting that in the previous challenge run, water was the main issue. Now in this one, water is hardly the issue, and food is. The benefits of being able to craft things. I'm going to try and do some more looting, and the Senor Drogas residence is right next to the trader. Through this door was the garage, with several cars, shelves, and zombies. I skirted around all the zombies to snag all the loot in the garage and moved on. Through this door was a part of the house, which had little loot and tons of zombies. The zombies chased me out of there, so I moved on to the second floor, by parkouring to this nearby balcony. There were lots of fat zombies on the second floor, which forced me into the attic, which had loot and even more zombies. At least I could easily escape from this death trap thanks to this hole in the roof. I was hoping I could again lure all the zombies out of the attic and then go back up there when it was clear. It was an amusing sight to see zombies fall from the roof and the balcony and kill themselves on the spikes. I did not place those spikes, so it does not invalidate the challenge. But because this game hates me for not playing by the rules, there was a dog and a feral when I tried to go back inside. So we are back to nerd polling on rooftops to escape the fast zombies. I took some time to check my game stage, which was at 20. It's starting to get obvious that the ferals will only become more frequent. He eventually got stuck in the building I was on, giving me a chance to escape to my base. Another thing that had started to concern me with my current base was structural integrity. This silo is already half destroyed, and adding a ton of extra blocks on top won't help with making sure it stays standing for as long as I need it to. So I went ahead and added some pillars to make sure that a structural failure was out of the picture. I can make quality 2 iron tools, so that is what I set out to do. While I was waiting for the remainder of the iron to cook up in the forge, I went to go check out the nearby police station. That was a disaster before it even started. This vulture came out of nowhere and hovered above me so I could not jump out of this little courtyard I was in. It also infected me, and I have no remedy for that. I could go hit tree stumps for honey, but they have a chance to spawn bees, and I can't kill them. I'm a pacifist, and I want to save the honeybees. I refuse to kill any bees ever, even if I die from infection. I spent the rest of the night running around aimlessly. I had cooked up some water earlier, so I took that. My mushrooms are also looking good. I made an iron pickaxe and a fire axe and called it a night there. It was a long night, but it's finally the morning of day 5. Apparently, the forge burning all night was enough to call in a screamer. She called in a horde, which didn't matter because I'm not sticking around anyway. As per usual, Trader Rect had no fetch quests except for a honeysuckle trailer park. I took it, despite already knowing that there is a dog in this POI. Fortunately, Trader Rect had antibiotics, so infection is now the least of my worries. As soon as I stepped onto the premises, the dog charged at me. He could run fast, but he could not climb the trailers. This dog called his friend, the snake, to help him, but up on the rooftop, they could not touch me. Anyway, the supplies were in this trailer, and just out of reach of my position on the roof, and with all those zombies down there, I was not going down there. I got the supplies through this window, and then the dog learned how to climb, as he jumped through the hole and bit me in the ass. Trader Rect disrespected me by giving me items that would inflict harm on others, so I just took the coal. Apparently the dog from the trailer park had followed me all the way over here, so to get revenge, I lured him into this building, then blocked him in there. He resisted, but it was of no use. That screamer was still hanging around my base. I needed to do something to draw those zombies away, so I did some looting in the immediate area. I ended up barricading myself in this kitchen for some peace and quiet, and also a chance to loot some food to cure my hunger. There was another dog as soon as I left, forcing me to the second floor of the pocket residence. I've drawn quite a crowd to this place. Just look at them all trying to get a piece of me. The zombies had gotten themselves entangled in the pocket residence, giving me my chance to escape. I went to Red Ruby's next, hoping to find some good loot for once in this playthrough. The kitchen yielded no food at all, figures. This fall-away floor on the stage spooked me a little bit. I had myself quite a following after running through this place once. If only it was that easy for me to find a girl in real life. Perhaps that's one of the benefits of the zombie apocalypse. Their attention was too much for me, so I blocked the door and left them stuck outside. That didn't sit well with this guy, who gave me a solid punch to the face. The end loot room had no shortage of zombies, but I did manage to quickly snatch the end loot chest before all the zombies had a chance to get their footing. This pipe was a good, safe place to rest and catch my breath, and analyze my findings from the leather chest. The most remarkable things was a wood splitter mod and a pair of gloves that increase axe damage. I couldn't get the rest of the end loot with all the zombies still hanging around, so it's time to lure all the zombies out of the building. There just had to be that one guy who didn't follow the crowd, but he couldn't stop me from taking what is rightfully mine. I put the point I got earlier into strength, so I could later put another point into minor 69er. The working stiff tools was next, and I didn't stay for too long. The zombies did not even force me out this time. I just got annoyed and left on my own accord. That's the summary of this challenge. How long can the gamer general stay in a building filled with zombies before he loses his patience and leaves without collecting half the loot in the building, and without collecting the end loot? I tried the area in the back, which was walled off from the outside, but that was no different. This area was pretty heated at this point, and zombies from all over were swarming to the working stiff tools. I figured I would just leave for a little bit and let that area cool down. After taking a break in real life, I went back to the Junkville saloon. There was a dog sleeping in the shed. Fortunately, I did not wake him up. This button opened up the end loot and revealed a ton of zombies, including a feral. There was a hatch leading up to this roof, so this was not a secure position. Since I could close that garage door by hitting that button again, I thought that maybe I could lock myself in that small room and grab the end loot. I tried to do it just once before not trying again. Locking myself in that room with feral zombies running about is probably not the best idea. I tried to loot the KMZ radio station next. That went about as well as you expected, which was not very well at all. The zombies were everywhere, so I left to loot cars. But couldn't even do that because there was a feral that chased me all the way from the radio station. I cowered on the roof of the radio station where there was a vulture just chilling in the rain. Stealth was kind of successful this time, I guess, so I was able to escape without further harm. We're at that point in the game where the tougher zombies are starting to become more common, all thanks to my increased game stage. One way I can deal with this is to stop hitting tier 3 POIs. The additional bonus applied to my game stage when I'm in these POIs only increases the chances of finding these zombies, which can turn my entire day upside down. I finally found a tier 1 POI, the Simon's Shanty. I used some fancy tricks to get the zombies off this roof, so I could get up there and not be disturbed by them. These doors were my allies in this building. They gave me the ability to separate and block the zombies, which made getting the end loot easy. Nothing remarkable came out of the end loot, save for a can of peas. Speaking of food, it's becoming a real issue. My lack of being able to effectively loot is really showing up by my lack of food. I could always go buy stuff from the trader, but forking over all my dukes just for food is less than ideal. Alright, maybe in retrospect it would be worth it. It's not like the trader has had anything good thus far. To try and rectify my food issues, I did something that I probably should have done a long time ago. I took all the potatoes I had and made some baked potatoes. I took all the corn and was going to make some grilled corn, but first I had to make a cooking grill. Then I also went ahead and made some cornbread with all my cornmeal. This used up all my water, and because I failed to remember that I have a dew collector, which is most definitely full of water, I went out to loot for more water. Dick's Diner did have some water in the toilets and soda fountains, and that's where I failed the challenge. I was being real reckless, real careless, and sprinting into all these small bathrooms to get water from the toilets, and then leaving all while zombies were around. This guy had to fall right in front of the door, just as I was trying to get out. If he had fallen just a second later, I would have been out. In that moment, there was nothing I could do. The zombies had blockaded me in the bathroom. There was no way out, so I just accepted my fate, and did not survive for 7 days as a pacifist in 7 Days to Die. Looking back, had I just used my pickaxe to break the stall wall, I might have been able to escape that mess. I would have been severely injured, but I would have been alive. Then again, if I had just remembered that I have a dew collector, none of this would have happened. Anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. I failed the challenge, and this video is already so long that starting again would turn this into a 1 hour long video. So I'm just going to go home, lick my wounds, and try again in another video. Yes, there will be a part 2 to this video, regardless if this video does well or not, because I am not one to leave a very possible challenge uncompleted. If you liked this video, leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel. While you're waiting for part 2 to this video, why not check out some of my other videos? I hope to see you next time, everyone. Well, back to the front.